What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Shattered Glass Saloon. I am Big D, and I am the Grim Rider. I'm here once again with Nick the Noob on the Shattered Glass Saloon. The Shattered Glass Saloon is where we talk things motorcycles, and we're talking about them today for sure. We got something special to talk about in regards to motorcycles and Nick the Noob. So, grab you a seat and grab you a drink and join. Cheers. Yeah. Well, I spill it all over me. If you ain't wearing it, you ain't drinking it right.
Got a hole in your lip there, bud?
Yeah, I guess. All right. So, if you've been watching anything over the past couple of weeks, then you'll notice and you've seen that Nick the Noob is getting into motorcycles. He has got his first bike, and he has taken his motorcycle training course at a Harley dealership, the actual full-fledged Harley riders training experience, and he has finished the course. That's what we're talking about here today. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into it. You've had a couple videos up throughout the days of doing your class, beforehand, some after, giving your thoughts and opinions. But what you didn't tell everybody, what you excluded, what you left as an exclusive for me right here at the Shattered Glass Saloon is, did you or did you not pass this class? Are you or are you not an endorsed rider?
I passed.
That's my boy. That's my boy. I knew it. I had faith in you all along. I did.
I'll tell you, man, getting through it, I was a little shook, dude. I didn't know if I was going to get all the way through this or not.
I know it.
Who got up? Man, I was getting nervous, dude. I was up to here.
I know it. You didn't see any of this or know about any of this, but not every night, but there were a couple nights there throughout that week where he'd call me on the phone and just kind of updating me on what's going on, his thoughts and feelings on it. And I tried my absolute best, guys. I promise you I did, to try to keep him in high spirits and, tried to, encourage as much best I could, would give whatever advice I could to keep him rolling through this whole experience.
And thank you. Thanks to D here. It did help. Helped actually significantly. So if you're a new rider and you're taking a safety course or anything like that, it'd be nice to have a friend to talk to if you're feeling a little discouraged. That's for sure. And I'm glad to have him here. He's a very experienced rider. So, it was very nice to be able to talk to him to, calm me down a little bit, for a couple of those nights. There
was a couple that
shaky. They were shaky ones.
Yeah, that you were pretty down on yourself pretty hard there. But regardless, it's good to know you passed the class. You are officially an endorsed rider, and that makes me so happy.
Oh, yeah.
I got a couple other questions for you. First of all, you brought up, before even buying the motorcycle, as going through your first steps of becoming a motorcycle rider, that you really wanted to do this full-on 5-day, 5 hours a day, Harley training class. Now, my question to you, and to let other potential new riders out there know, what was your take on it? Was it worth it? Could you have gotten by with something else? And now, obviously, everybody else is going to be different. We had mentioned in the previous Shattered Glass Saloon to be honest with yourself, with what steps you believe that you should take. But for you personally, and what you would recommend, was this experience, this particular class, worth it?
Most certainly. I really can't stress that enough. I'm actually very diehard now about new riders taking their safety and their learning seriously. And I'm glad I took that path 100%. I actually have absolutely zero regrets going through this. And definitely I guess I don't have any comparison to make, but I do think I have the advantage over somebody who even did just a weekend class. Now, that's not so bad if you just take a weekend class. That's okay, too. I still think that's much better than not taking anything at all. For me, now, I did pay a little extra money, especially since I was doing this through Motown Harley. They take this safety thing very seriously. Actually, a couple of the coaches I had in the class are what do they call that? Basically, they train police to ride motorcycles, and that's what they do. One of them, in fact, was a riding cop for many years, and was more or less a traffic cop too near the end of his tenure. So he's seen a lot of the gory things that happen, and very good guy. I actually he's probably my favorite coach out of all of them. Very good guy. So the total experience was very positive. I came away from this feeling fantastic. Honestly, really? Even for the couple of days that I was a little shook, really passing class and having that sigh of relief off me, plus some of the reassurance I got once it was over, made me feel a lot better. They helped point out the fact that I have truly earned this endorsement. Because a lot of people do just get like a rider's permit. They teach themselves on the street and probably make a lot of mistakes and things in the street that could potentially be very fatal, or could totally
to themselves or somebody else.
To themselves, somebody else, and also may have convinced them to totally quit riding altogether. I have another buddy of mine who did that very thing. He got a temporary instruction permit, rode that for a while, and while he had it, made an egregious mistake and hasn't gotten back on a bike since. It's not to say that he won't get back on a bike, but he had to put it down for a little bit, especially with kids and all that stuff. And so I could totally understand that. These things do happen. So having a safety training course, I think, made all of the difference. And deciding to take a week-long class really was truly helpful. So even if you have to spend a little extra money, I really encourage you to do it. If you live in this Michigan area, near Detroit, Southern Michigan, or something like that, go to Motown for this class. It will be worth it. Now, these guys are going to be a little hard on you. They're supposed to, because they're trying to train better riders. So you're going to be safer out there, and you can walk away with more confidence to ride.
Hey, the thing of it is it might have cost you a little extra money, but can you really put a price on your safety and other people? Right. You can't. Worth it. Good to know.
$200 when it comes to maybe saving my life is definitely going to be worth it. I think.
Absolutely. Now there is one thing I do want to discuss, because this was something that you had to deal with, and everybody has to deal with within these classes. I had to deal with this to a certain degree myself in my class that I took. It was a different class, but it is something that anybody going into these classes, I think, needs to be aware of going in. I'm not trying to knock any training facility, any training course, or anything at all when I say this, but you had experienced these things. The bikes themselves in the class, what was it riding those bikes for you? I know for myself, it could be a little difficult, because these particular bikes in these classes, they were bought specifically for these classes. They probably never left these parking lots. They're a little banged up, don't work quite right. So that's one of those things that not only are you trying to learn all of these skills, which are a good thing, but you also have to, I guess, learn to also adapt to the machine itself, regardless of whether it's yours or not. There's these different things. So what did you experience with the particular bikes that you rode in this class?
No, for the bikes themselves, and if you were watching my posts while I was in the class, we were riding Harley Street 500s. Automatically, I would have to say a better start than most classes that you'll probably find out there. Most weekend classes or college classes, you're probably going to be on a 250 off-brand bike of some kind.
Yeah, we had the little Suzuki GZ single-cylinder 250s. There was nothing to them at all.
So these things, these 250s don't really have a lot of pep. They're also not the greatest of design. They know what the manufacturer knows what they built this bike for.
Right. But anyway,
I did have a little bit of advantage with Street 500s. And with that being said, now, in the class that I took, I would have to say, for my best guess, upwards 20, maybe even 30 people a week are riding these bikes. in a day class and a night class and a weekend class. So a lot of people are rolling through here. They got pretty good turnover of students that are on these bikes, and some of them are worse than others. Some of them are better than others. And I can tell you the bike that I rode, I wanted the white one because it stands out a little bit more. You know what I mean? I wanted something a little bit more different.
Even in a training class, he wanted to be different.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I wanted to be a little different.
Hey,
so
man.
having the white one was better. Now, there was a blue one. I probably should have picked the blue one because it's a blue one compared to like a couple of white ones and the rest are black. But either way. I mentioned this in those videos. On my bike personally, I had problems with the shifter and the clutch out of the gate from day one. I had problems with this on the bike. Now, like he said, in college classes and these courses, none of this really matters. These bikes were built for these trainings, and they're gonna go down and have gone down probably several times. The specific bike I rode, when I looked at the speedometer, had a mileage of about 1,400 miles. And now, keep in mind, that's 1,400 miles in a parking lot. Right. This bike's been in service for a while. Right. It has gone down. I mean, the fairing was scraped up a bit. The engine guard protections and stuff, those were scraped up pretty decent. Now, we had one of our coaches, cool guy, but a little bit of a show off, intentionally was scraping these engine guards along the pavement to show how sharp of a turn you can make in these things without going over. He was trying to give us a little bit of confidence, like, you can get into this bike a little bit and it's not gonna fall. He's like, I can scrape this pavement tape in this turn. Now, he was suggesting we don't try to do that, but you know, once you're an experienced rider, it's fair play. Yeah. And he works for this place. He can scrape these bikes up if he wants. No big deal. So, compared to the bike I have, which is my starter bike is a Suzuki Intruder 800. And perhaps you've noticed that. Compared to my bike, these Street 500s are probably still a little bit better than what I actually ride. Because mine's used and been from somebody else, and I've got a couple little quirks on my bike that aren't exactly perfect and is a little older. So, it's not bad. I rode, after my class was finished, got my endorsement. I rode my bike again. I stopped riding exclusively to take this class and to not undo any practices that I learned during the class. So I waited till it was over to get back on my own bike. And fortunately I did that because when I did, I recognized things about my own bike, that I didn't recognize previously. And so a lot of that was good learning. And the biggest takeaway of this, that you want to talk about the bikes. Yeah. The biggest takeaway I got from this is during this course, while riding this bike and comparing it to my own, I know now officially what I want out of my bike, what I want it to be capable of, and what accessories and features I want the bike to have outside of just how it's going to look. And, all of that, and, being concerned about, is it too big for me to start off on? Is it too small for me to start off on? Those kinds of things. So now when I buy a future bike, I know what I'm looking for and what I hope to get out of it. Yeah. So it's going to help my upgrade purchase, significantly. So all great things, all things I picked up, probably wouldn't have picked up if I didn't take this class.
Yeah. But yeah, so the bikes, you have to kind of work with those bikes, but again, it's a learning curve, just like the entire experience. So that's just something that I wanted to mention, because I had a little, issues with, the bikes in my training class too. It's just something that you have to learn to adapt. That's always a good thing. So I just wanted to throw that out there just to have you guys keep that in mind.
Also, to speak to that note also, I didn't want to leave this out now that it's fresh in my mind, but, if you do take a training course or you're thinking about taking a training course, don't be too worried about these bikes not being perfect. No. Because number one, they're not going to be. There was one out of 30 some bikes that were available that was brand new. So most of these bikes have gotten some dirt collected on them and probably have never left second gear. So, but that to me, for at least what I learned in the course, was a good thing. And I'll tell you why. Because because the shifter not working properly or the way I expected or anticipated it to, and the clutch not being ideal, taught me how to adjust while I was taking this class. Yeah. So I learned things from this class that wasn't even being taught in this class. I learned how to adjust on the fly to mechanical failure, to things that on this bike that weren't perfect. I learned how to make this work for me. You know, so that is something you can take away. Is so if you take a safety class, actually be kind of grateful if you got the dirty bike. If you got the bike that's gone down a couple times, be grateful for it, because that one's probably going to teach you a thing or two. And that's what I got. That's what I gathered out of my bike. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, you'd mentioned it slightly, but I wanted to touch on it just a little bit more. Okay. You've been out on the road a little bit on your bike. We went to the parking lot a couple times. You've taken this class. You've passed, endorsed. So going forward, now having to get back on your bike, how are you feeling now? When we first started this whole journey, you had so many different thoughts and opinions. Have any of those thoughts and opinions have changed? Are you still looking forward to this? Are you still as nervous as you were before? Do you have a little more confidence? Where are you as far as, I guess, mentally, prepared for going forward into getting into the realm of motorcycles?
I'll tell you, it's actually quite a loaded question for me. Some feelings I had before going into the class and riding previously had been kind of reaffirmed, and not so great of a way. Other things, on the other hand, have given me more clarity, and a little bit more confidence. So it's kind of like a tit for tat sort of thing. When I shouldn't have, and I don't recommend anybody ride before they get their endorsement. I think it's a big mistake, especially now that I've gone through this. But I had a couple of moments where I rode before taking this class, just to freshen up, shifting and so forth. That was liberating, and gave me almost a false sense of security. Now the safety class, at least the one that I took, especially since it's a week long, so it was a grueling one, was intimidating. They kind of put the fear of God into you a little bit, is what I experienced from this, because, beforehand, you know, driving a car, okay, that was something that was instinctual to me from the minute I was a teenager. I mean, literally, my balls dropped and I said, I'm going to drive a car. It was just something that my brain just automatically knew how to do. It was before I ever had my driver's license. I was ready to take that challenge and take it on. And to this day, driving, you know, I've got such experience with it. I mean, to give a little history on myself, I guess, most of my career life, my growing working life, has been driving a car. Instead of working in a factory or something like that, I've spent most of my time driving. So, at least behind a car, I don't give a damn what other drivers do, because I'm going to compensate that difference nearly every time. I've got such experience and such confidence in my ability to drive a car that I'm not worried about these other drivers as much, because I'm going to compensate that difference and have compensated that difference in the past. I've also compensated for that difference in poor weather and all kinds of other things that I've had to deal with driving my car around. A motorcycle is an entirely different beast, completely. And now my number one concern is literally everybody else. Now, despite whatever fears or problems I might have with myself, the biggest reaffirmation, I guess, that I've had from doing all of this is I'm even more nervous now than I was before about other people's piss poor driving habits, weather, something as simple as lawn trimmings or budding. I mean, it's springtime now here in Michigan, so the trees are budding and some of this stuff's going to fall on the ground. It's going to create somewhat slick pavement. These things I have to account for. Now, I can't experience these things without being out on the street. And despite these fears, I do have a good feeling from taking the safety course, knowing you, talking to you. Everything that's been involved has given me confidence and clarity, that I'm still going to give this a try. So at this position that I feel right now, I'm happy to go out there and at least continue to practice riding on my own, enjoy my bike, for at very least this riding season so far is how I feel right now, that I'm going to carry this through, and hopefully a lot of the concerns and the stuff that's in my head will start to relieve itself, and I'll enjoy myself more, and this will turn into something much, much better, much, much bigger, and I can really, truly enjoy the experience of riding. I'm so new, I'm so fresh, that right now, I can't predict the future. I don't actually know how things will play out or go in the future, so maybe I'll take a turn for the worse, and I'll have a close call or something, and I'll be like, okay, that's enough. I'm not going to be able to enjoy this the way I want to enjoy it. And hopefully that won't happen. But at least right now, I have more confidence and more focus than I did beforehand. So those are things that didn't exist, and I also am a little bit more humbled than I was beforehand. So I can I won't take this experience of getting on a motorcycle riding for granted. Yeah. But some things, like I said, road hazards and things like that, have been reaffirmed, if anything. So I am more concerned about some of those aspects of riding, especially here in Michigan. We have crap roads to start with. Potholes everywhere, tar strips up the yin-yang, piss poor, railroad tracks, riding up here, kind of a pain. And, we'll see how it goes. I can't know for certain until I've really got some true experience on my belt. Experience is the best teacher, and there's no other way. I mean, if I want to do this, I'm going to do this. That's all there is to that.
Yeah. Well, in closing, I wanted to do something special. So I got a little something for you.
Oh, something for me?
I did.
Something for me?
I did.
What you get for me?
And, touching on, your fears and your worries and all that kind of stuff, I wanted to do something special for you. And it's funny because you mentioned this actually not too long ago. And when you didn't know it, but this was already in the works. So I'm going to give this to you. And then once you see it, I'm going to explain why I got this particular one for you. So I want you to have that.
I knew it. I just knew. I knew this had to be what it is. Let's see what you got for me here, bud.
And
see that right there?
Motorcyclists all over the place know the Guardian Bell. And this particular Guardian Bell, I'll probably put a close-up of it or something here while I talk about it. But there's a couple reasons why I got this particular one for you.
So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna read this out loud.
Yeah.
Is up here, it says Guardian, little rider with an angel in front of it. The insignia on it actually says never ride faster than your angel can fly.
Yeah. And the reason that I picked this one out for you is because of the worries and
I love you, bro.
And
that's what I'm talking about.
So let me explain. So the reason I got this particular one is because of your worries and your fears and all of this other stuff. And I know it's just a little bell, but the legend of the bell is if you have the Guardian Bell with you, it will protect you from the negative energies and that kind of stuff while out on the road. And so this particular bell has the bike with the Guardian Angel. And it does have the phrase, never ride faster than your angel can fly. And I picked that because with that saying, what I take from that saying is just be smart, be safe, just don't do anything stupid. You can't control what everybody else does, like you had mentioned, but you can control what you do. So just ride safe to the best of your ability. And now that you have that class, you have more ability to do that. And being that you do have the two little ones at home, you have the wife at home, the two beautiful, you got a great young family, and I know that you've been worried about, some of these things. So you can take it for what it is, but the Guardian Angel, the angel on the bell, well, now anytime you get out on that bike, you will have an angel with you at all times. So that's why I decided to get that particular bell for you.
I didn't know how much this was going to mean. Until it was in my hands. I'm a little shook, guys. I really am. I couldn't be more grateful. Like, I just learned about these things. Shortly after I bought my bike, I was buying my riding gear, my helmet, my jacket and that. And, I saw these belts, there at the dealership I was buying the stuff from. And I was like, what's these bells about? And a guy explained to me what the bells meant, you know, and then right away, you know, because I already bought my bike. So I come back and give this guy some shit about it. It's like, dude, where's my bell?
And when he said it, I had already ordered it. I was just waiting for it to come. I had already done it.
And this is fresh.
I was already a step ahead of you.
I was hoping this would happen, and I didn't know that this was going to mean to me until it was like in
and
my
again,
hands.
I picked that one being that you know, the saying what it has on it.
I don't know why.
I wanted it to have meaning. You know, it needed to have a certain special kind of meaning, and that's the reason why. So we'll be able to put that on the bike. And very soon, I'm hoping, as long as the weather will cooperate, because it hasn't been last week or so, we can actually get this man out on his bike as an official, you know, endorsed rider. Got his plate, insurance, everything ready to go.
Insurance.
And so stay tuned.
Yep.
So hopefully very soon we'll be able to get him out on his very first official ride. So congratulations, brother. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell. Become part of the Grim Crew so that you don't miss out on anything, whether it's rides, Shattered Glass Saloon, road stories, or just more videos with this man right here. You know, you don't want to miss that beautiful face. So, with that being said, you ain't got to go home. Well, you might be sitting at home watching this, so, I mean, I'm going to go with it anyways. You don't gotta go home, but you sure as hell can't stay here. The Shattered Glass Saloon is closed. But with that being said, you want to keep this discussion going in the after hours, drop your comments below and we will reply to them as soon as we possibly can. And with that being said, I am Big D. I am the Grim Rider. This is Nick the Noob. And until next time, we will catch you down the road.